Welcome back to Goonies World. My name is Goonie, also known as Colin, and I am joined, as always, by our cruel, heartless dungeon master, Johnny Pharaoh, also known as Sean.
Hey.
And Meanie, also known as Ryan.
Hello.
And Lunicorn, also known as Lynn.
Howdy.
You're a little slow on the draw there.
Yeah,
Just pick it up.
Slow on the draw. Pick it up.
What?
Let's go. God.
I'm going to blame internet lag.
Yeah, it might be that.
I don't know if it's internet lag. I think it might have been,
brain lag.
All that Ambien you ate right before we started recording. No, but we're back to playing Dungeons and Dragons, old basic / expert D&D, 1981 red box. And, we're about halfway through our series on this. We've never played any version of Dungeons and Dragons in our entire run of Goonies World. And I just wondered, and you guys aren't like super familiar with old school D&D, or it's been so long since we played it. We played so many retro clones, it's hard to know what's old school D&D and what isn't, and we've all played newer editions. But I thought before we started, let's have a little tavern talk. There we go. Let's sit down and have ourselves a nice, refreshing beverage. I was just curious because I've had some thoughts as we've been playing about what I like and don't like about it, and some challenges to my memory of old D&D being easier and clearer. But I wondered how you guys have felt about what's your impressions of the system so far, compared to other retro clones you've played or newer editions. Anyone have any thoughts on that at all?
Just the as far as the rules, like, it's not that different than a lot of the old school Renaissance stuff that we've played, because obviously a lot of them are based on this, but when you actually look how the rules are written, then it seems way more complicated.
Yeah.
Just looking at it, it looks like, you're reading a textbook or something.
Yeah, and then maybe it's not laid out as well as it could be. I've noticed to find out everything you need to know about a piece of equipment, there are 3 separate pages you've got to look at. Like the cost of it's on one page, and how much damage it does is on another, and that type of thing.
I think that got a lot simpler later on when everything's just in kind of like the spreadsheet, essentially, where it's like, this is how much it weighs, and this is how much damage it does. This is its range, and whatever. Yeah, I would agree. Well, we've complained a little bit about Thaco so far, I believe, in our explorations. I personally think the best thing that ever happened to Dungeons and Dragons was in 3rd edition when they switched to an ascending armor class. Yeah.
And it seems so intuitive that I couldn't believe why they ever would have done it otherwise. But I did a little bit of research, and the whole lower armor class is better arose out of naval war games, which Gygax and his whole crew were really into. And this idea that AC was more related to size, like a great big huge warship would be easier to hit, and it had a big size number, but a little tiny warship would be harder to hit, so it had this smaller number. So that was kind of what they were used to, right? And they were marketing it to other people who were into that and used to it, and lacking any other approach, and it being really the first game of its kind, they just kind of went with what they were comfortable with, because why not? But actually, in 1998, there was a letter to the editor in Dragon Magazine where some nerd was just like, well, just switch the AC around, and instead of counting down from 10, you count up from 10, and the difference between 20 and your Thaco would be added to the positive number. And this made a lot of sense, obviously. And so when 3rd edition eventually came about, that's what they went with. And I think it's is so much better as we've been playing so far. I hate having to look at the little chart. I can't instantly calculate in my head, what it should be.
I always kind of thought, and this doesn't really apply now, but I always thought, kind of back in the day, that looking it up on the chart to figure out whether you hit was kind of part of the fun.
Yeah.
I now I think it's kind of cumbersome and tedious, but I remember at the time it was like, I got a 17. I'm pretty sure that hits, but let me look at the chart.
Yeah, I can see that. I say, on the character sheet, a matrix takes up a lot of space, and also every time you swap out weapons, you might have to kind of recalculate that. But it does. I've always had this idea that D&D was simpler and less clunky back in the day, and I think it's almost true in every case except for that. The other thing that I felt a little frustrated by in every single game I've ever played since I started playing Into the Odd is the 2-hit roll. And we've forgotten to do it once or twice, I think, on this series so far, because we play a lot of games based on the Into the Odd chassis, so to speak, where there's no 2-hit roll. You just immediately go to rolling damage. And I just don't miss the 2-hit roll at all, and to the point where I almost resent having to do it. And what do you guys think about that?
I mean, it depends on. I can see why some people would want to, because it's it's about luck. To some extent.
Yeah,
people like to be lucky,
and also it doesn't. It's not necessarily representative of whether or not you hit. It's only representative, really, of whether you inflict enough of a damage to actually justify rolling, right? So,
right.
It's not necessarily. I mean, I know we kind of joked around about it back in the years ago when we played Demon Lord with House of Whiffs,
House of Whiffs, yeah.
But you weren't necessarily actually just whiffing. You were just striking somewhere that didn't do damage, or narratively you could explain it away, sort of, kind of however you wanted. But
yeah.
So, point being, I would agree that after having played Into the Odd quite a bunch recently, over the past year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it's been, it almost seems cumbersome, but at the same time, I don't know, I feel like it's justifiable in a way that Descending Armor Class isn't.
yeah, totally. I know our friend Joe likes to have some stakes when he attacks. He feels like it's not any fun to know he's always going to hit, for example. And I could see where rolling and possibly missing could create some drama, some uncertainty, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally kind of feel like when every turn's going to count, I mean, when you're always going to do damage every turn, things are going to go south either for you or the bad guys within a few rounds, right? So I think it kind of emphasizes some planning and tactics and stuff like that. You talked about that Demon Lord. I think we literally had a 20 minutes of an episode where we played Demon Lord once where we didn't hit anything. I think Goonie entitled that one House of Whiffs. If you go back and look for that one.
Also, it was a double entendre because we were in a house that smelled really bad. And but my character couldn't smell it, so he wanted to have
that's
it
right.
described.
He was the clockwork, yeah.
Yes.
Rusty.
Yeah. Well, that's maybe enough tavern talk for now. I'm sure that we want to get back into the action. And if you listened last time, then you know that we're in the Caves of Chaos. We finally made it. Our three heroes, Emeleth Starstorm, the elf, Cosmo Moonfoot, our halfling, and Dudley Raw Dog Gruff, have gone into the Caves of Chaos through a obscured cave mouth and fought an ogre and defeated it. And you guys are weighed down with treasure now. I mean, you can carry a little more, but you guys got bags of gold. You got all kinds of gold and silver, some copper, which isn't quite as useful. I guess you could always throw down if you have to later. but you can still carry a little more. There's probably more to find here in the Caves of Chaos, certainly. I know you guys did find a scroll with some healing potions on it. And then what was the other spell? Remind me, was it a hold person or something like that?
That I actually don't remember, because that happened earlier. I think that we got that. We have a potion of... Did you say a potion of invisibility?
Okay.
And then we got the Cure Light Wounds spells.
That's right. Yeah, you found the potion of invisibility, I think, from the Mad Hermit, and then the Cure Light Wounds spells. And you may need them. I don't know how you guys are doing on hit points, how that fight with the ogre went.
Well, yeah, I'm down some, and I know Emilith got hit as well.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to use those spells yet or wait a little longer. And don't forget, despite you calling me a cruel and heartless dungeon master, I've been allowing maximum results on healing potions and whatnot, you know.
Yeah.
So let's not forget that. But yeah, Emileth, being an elf, sometimes just being near a secret door, whether they're looking for it or not, elves can find. And there was a secret door. And where we stopped last time, we were deciding whether or not to push through this secret door. It looks like it must be a really thick secret door, too. I mean, because this is not worked stone. This is a cave mouth, you know, and the walls are unnatural. So even though you just had a big fight in here, it's doubtful that anything on the other side of this secret door even knows you're here yet. So now you could always go back out, however, just to keep you aware of your options. You could go back out into the canyon and seek out another cave mouth, or you could go through this secret door now. What do you you're standing right next to it, Emileth. What do you do?
I think we should go through the secret door.
Well, don't think they would put a secret. It wouldn't be a secret if there was nothing worth investigating behind it.
That's right.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we can afford to just ignore this secret door that's right here. I mean, who knows what's behind it? I mean, we think we're rich now. Just wait until we get behind, find some real treasure, and make a name for ourselves. When we get back to the keep, if it's not, been invaded and everyone killed, then think of the bragging rights we'll have.
That's true. So, how do you want to? You want to just kick the door open, or you want to open it real slowly and peek, or what would you like to do?
We better check it. Make sure there's no traps.
Well, wouldn't just kick it open if there's a monster it might attack.
Well, you guys give it a good look, and you look all over the place. You don't really have a thief with you who can find and remove traps. Always my favorite acronym on the character sheet: find and remove traps, or FART. But, you're smart enough to look at it very closely, and you feel relatively confident that no one's trapped this secret door. Anyone want to give it a shove and open it?
Now, before we take any actions, that ogre cracked me pretty good. But I'm gonna be fine, But just for your guys' peace of mind, I might want to heal myself up, It's not like I need it, but, so I don't go worrying you guys. Maybe it's a good idea.
I'd be less worried about being worried than I would about you getting killed, and then we wouldn't have anybody to save our asses.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. But I think I'm just gonna... You guys are making this real difficult for me. I didn't want you to see me do this. Why don't you look away?
Well, yes.
Avert your eyes.
Avert our eyes and make our poor friend feel more comfortable.
Right, well, I'm averting now. I'm not looking. I can't see a thing. My eyes are closed.
And I start taking off my clothes. No, I start. I start casting the Cure Light Wound spell. We had 4 total, so now we're down to 3.
Okay.
And we're getting the maximum from that,
Yeah, you're getting the maximum from that.
which is 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. You got it. So you feel slightly invigorated. And I assume now you guys will feel more confident in going through that door. Who wants to open the secret door?
Well, I suppose my curiosity's gotten the better of me, and I'll push it open.
All right. You push it open, and it's got this grinding sound. However, as I said, it was a really thick door, and the people on the other side of the door are certainly surprised when you push it open, and you see there are 6 goblins in here. They're tiny little things. They got flimsy little spears. They're about the size of Cosmo, but they're not as thick as Cosmo, and as well-fed and substantial. But they scream, high-pitched goblin screams, and back away from the wall. There's a fairly large room here, and there's hallways going east and west. They look like they were facing the eastern hallway, like they were guarding it or looking down it, but they spin around in absolute surprise when they see you. You guys have an entire surprise round to act in, if you wish. And, of course, if you wanted to shoot at them with missiles, that would happen first, and then spells, and then any movement or melee would happen after that. Or you could just invite them to a party or something. I don't know. Anyone want to fire at them with your bows or missile weapons?
Well, Cosmo having pushed through, and I presumably being the first to sort of see them spin around and everything.
Oh, yeah.
He's just gonna wave at them and smile and say hello.
Oh, they growl. What anyone else doing anything?
Not this round.
All right. How about Emeleth?
I will fire my bow. And I do have a couple of +1 arrows.
Once they see you and you whip out the bow, they scream, "Elf! Elf! Bright eyes! Elves have bright eyes!" They're always very terrified of elves, goblins are. But if you want to hit one of those wee little goblins, their armor class is 6. So I believe with a ranged weapon, Emeleth, to hit armor class 6, you need a 12 or greater.
I did not get a 12 or greater.
You did not get a 12 or greater. Well, the arrow
Even with my
skitters across.
pluses.
Even with your pluses. The arrow flies over the other side of the room, goes down that eastern hallway that they were guarding. And I think we should probably now go ahead and roll initiative. We roll for the whole side. The goblins have rolled a 2. So, Dudley, why don't you roll initiative for your side?
I also rolled a 2.
Okay, well, in the rules as written, this is simultaneous and everything happens at the same time. My house rule, however, is that the party wins ties. So, you guys have another round of action in which to do something. Any missile fire?
Yeah, I think Cosmo's going to shoot this time. Shoot his little bow there.
Okay. Remember, there's 6 of these little things. They're not particularly well armored. They're wearing leather and they are carrying spears.
I'm lying. I thought he had a short bow, but he does not. He has a short sword.
No, I think he has a short bow.
I thought so too.
He
But
used one. I know he's used. The precedent has been set.
oh yes, it's
Yeah.
not listed under the okay. It's in the list of things. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he does indeed.
So whipping out that short bow and firing into.
Ooh, yeah. Well, 2 is not going to be enough.
2's not going to be enough to hit their armor class of 6. No, it's not. Any spell use? Or, well, anybody else shooting missiles? Emeleth, you firing another arrow?
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot.
All right, here it comes. The elven bow sings.
Roll the same thing I rolled last time.
Oh, no. Well, we're unable to. It's
Whopping
House
6.
of Whiffs. All
It's
right.
not. It's not helping.
House of Whiffs. I know that I don't think Raw Dog has a missile weapon, and
I do have a sling, but I prefer to use my sword.
Slings are for little shepherd boys. Yeah. Well, no one's going to cast a spell then since we've already acted Amaleth. So, yeah, now we're into the movement and melee phase. You going to rush in with that big-ass two-handed sword of yours?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to take a big swipe at whoever is unlucky enough to be right in front of me.
Yeah, like I say, there's 6 of them. A couple of them are shielding their eyes because they think that Amaleth's eyes are too bright. Goblins are always bright eyes, elves they almost consider elves like supernatural creatures, which they kind of are. But yeah, you go in with that big old sword, and at armor class 6, you also, Dudley, will need a 12 or greater in melee to strike one. And I hope you can roll it.
I do not roll it.
Oh, no, it is House of Whiffs. It's House of Whiffs, just like we feared. And the goblins themselves now will go. But we're going to have them... We're going to check for their reaction. Their immediate reaction was one of fear. But I'm going to use the reaction roll, which I almost never use. And I get a 7. Now, 6 to 8 means they're uncertain. They're confused. They're afraid, So at this point, they're kind of backing up. They back up down the western hallway. Not the hallway that they look like they were guarding and keeping an eye on, but they backed further down the western hallway. Not really running away from you, but hesitant, confused, raising up their spears defensively, walking backwards a bit. And that's the turn. We're back up to you guys now. And we'll go right into the missile fire if anyone wants to do it. You're at fairly close range, but it's not like you're firing in melee at this point. Just don't hit Raw Dog in the back if you miss. I don't believe there's any friendly fire misses. Although a great house rule we used to use is if you roll a critical failure and you're firing into melee, then you hit your friend. But how about little Cosmo? Do you fire your short bow?
He did indeed fire his short bow, but 5 is not much more than 2, I'm afraid.
No, it's not. House of Whiffs, and your arrow flies down the western hallway. And how about you, Amaleth? You going to make that elven bow sing?
Got a 12.
So you hit. All right.
So I just made it.
You hit. Now go ahead and roll your damage.
I hit.
You may be surprised.
Terrible roll, but I do have a +1, so 2 points of damage.
Okay. One of them cries out, grabs the elven bow. It burns! It burns! And, Raw Dog. You're right up there close still. You want to smack that one with your sword that she just hit?
You know what else burns? My cock. Because I don't wear rubbers.
That's right. No sheep's gut for you. You're a Raw Dog.
And, yes, I will attack the same. And I rolled a critical failure, a 1.
Oh, okay. Well, unfortunately, you drop your sword on the ground. Clatter. You have to spend your next turn
Greasy.
picking it up. Says one of the goblins.
Oh, you're going to pay for that.
And they were confused, but you guys are pressing the attack, and they're still sort of backing up, but they jab at 3 of them, jab at you, Raw Dog, with their spears. And they're actually going to need a 15 to hit you, Raw Dog. One of them rolls a natural 20, which is going to double his damage. However, he only rolled a 1, so you take 2 points of damage from that first one. That's the one who said, ha ha! And he says it again. He says, ha ha! And the second one jabs at you and misses you. And then the last one, he actually rolls a critical failure and drops his spear. Yeah, it's so flimsy. I like to think he kind of like pushes against your armor and bends a little bit, and it snaps out of his hands, falls to the ground. There were 3 other ones, though, who haven't attacked yet. One of them actually hurls his spear at Cosmo, who's standing back behind you. He misses Cosmo, however. He needed a 12 to hit Cosmo, but only rolled a 3. And the 2 others fling their spears at Amaleth. They need an 18 to hit her. One of them also rolls a 3, and I just rolled a 3 again. 3 threes in a row. And so 2 of them are without spears now. They whip out daggers. Or 3 of them are without spears and whip out daggers. And it's back up to you guys. You're still at range, Cosmo and Emeleth. Do you wish to shoot your bow, or do you want to close in melee?
Yes, I will shoot my bow once again, and I will not roll shitty this time. I rolled a 3. I lied.
You guys are the shittiest dungeon party ever. And how about Emeleth?
Apparently, I am being haunted by a demon because I have now rolled 3 6s. Not in a row, but still, evil is afoot.
No, it's just a running total. I think it's really only a problem if you roll 3 6s in a row. That's when, the demon erupts out of the cover of the Dungeon Master's Guide and attacks. But there's a lot of loose arrows flying around in here, that's for sure. Raw dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got 1 that's wounded. And then, of course, you got 3 in melee against you right now.
I'm just gonna definitely target the one that laughed at me like that Simpsons character. Okay. That time I get a 17.
Okay. Now, you definitely hit him.
5.
Well, that wasn't the one that was already wounded. Nevertheless, the one who laughed at you grabs his throat. You've almost cut his head completely off.
You're not laughing now.
Yeah, he's not laughing now. Blood burbling out of his throat as his head kind of falls sideways and hangs by a bit of tendon, and then falls to the ground, and that one is dead.
He's not giggling, he's gurgling.
Yeah. At this point, they're going to check for their morale. And they keep their morale. They hold their ground at this point. But the wounded one stabs at you with his spear, Raw Dog. He misses you, however. The other one, who was up in melee with you, after looking in horror at his friend, maybe it's because he's shocked by that, he also misses. The other 3 had already flung their spears. But they grab daggers out of their packs and then rush past Raw Dog, who's occupied with the other 2, to close in melee. 2 of them rush up and attack Emeleth with their daggers. But both of them miss you, not by much, but they do. And then one of them hits poor little Moonfoot with a 15. They needed a 12. And does 1 point of damage to you, Cosmo, with the dagger. You're all now engaged in melee, and you get the sense, though, that their morale's hanging by a thread, and they're afraid of you. And they look nervous when you first came in anyway, about whatever's down the eastern hallway. So, it's your turn again. There's no missile fire. Any spells? I'm going to say you paused, and so you're thinking too hard about it, and we'll move on.
Okay.
Hey, why waste a spell on some goblins, right?
Right. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Nope. Okay. Well, Emeleth, why don't you go ahead and make a melee attack on... There's 2 of them standing right in front of you.
It's a 9 this time instead of a 6. I said switch dice.
You just know, for being a badass elf, you're really not very
I'm
badass.
not very badass.
It's not tonight.
Not tonight,
not
anyway.
Not today. I know. I think it's because she started talking faster. Everything she said was like this. You're starting to get more excited, and maybe you need to calm back down. And so you missed the 2. How about you, Cosmo? You've got your short sword you could whip out. You also have a +1 dagger, but I think last time you kind of did the math, and you were...
What's a D4, right, or something?
It's D4 +1, so it's either 2 to 5 or 1 to 6, whichever weapon you use.
Yeah. So let's see. Melee. I'm slightly worse at. What's the armor class? I forgot. 12.
Their armor class is 6, and so in melee,
it's 6.
You would need
because it's low.
Yeah, you would need a 12.
What I did not get, I got a 10.
Okay, House of Whiffs. And how about Raw Dog?
Add another whiff.
Add another whiff. Okay. And having not been hit this round, perhaps that gives them a little bit of courage. The two who were on Emeleth both attack her with their daggers, but both miss. The one who attacks, one of them slices at your belly, Cosmo, but he misses. And then Raw Dog, you are also missed, and that one who was wounded, he then drops his spear onto the ground as well with a critical failure. So they've all just completely missed, and one of them's weaponless now. I think they're going to check their morale again, but they hold on a little while longer. They almost wavered. We're back up to your turn, however, so let's go ahead and start with Emeleth again. See if you can hit them this time. I hear a dice, and she's making a face.
I cannot.
She's making a face.
Not
Okay, you do know you just need a 12 or higher. All right.
I know. I rolled 3.
Okay, all right. I've been rolling a lot of 3s actually
I rolled
myself.
a lot of 6s.
Yeah.
A lot of 6s and a 3 now.
Okay, how about
I rolled a 9. They've all been multiples of 3.
That is strange. How about Cosmo?
Cosmo. Let's see. Why did you do 12?
Yeah, you need a 12.
That's exactly what he rolled.
There you go. That's more like it. You've just got the one against you in melee right now. And hopefully you can take him out. It's possible to take them out in one hit.
That is going to be 5 points.
Then you kill him. That dagger is right, or your sword goes right into his throat. A lot of throat hits. So, you've got 2 of them down now. Raw Dog. Maybe you can do what you need to do to...
Let me check the Psycho.
yeah, you need a 12 or
Oh,
greater.
almost, but nope.
Almost, but not quite. Okay. Yeah, so, however, 3 of them are down now. And this time they break. They break, and they flee. They turn to run. They're not making a fighting withdrawal, however. So anyone who wants to get a parting shot on them as they turn their backs may now do so.
Yeah, this would be a good opportunity to use my sling. Since I don't want to chase after them. Yeah, I will roll my sling.
Well, Cosmo managed to impart 1 point of damage upon a fleeing goblin.
Okay. He cries out. How about Emeleth?
And Emeleth did 6 points of damage on
Okay, well, you
parting shot.
You kill another one. So, yeah, a wounded one and one that's not wounded. They're all that's left, and they go...
And I actually hit as well
Oh.
for 3 damage.
Okay, well, only one makes it out of there, out of the 6 that you that you encountered. That one runs down the western hallway, though, screaming at the top of his lungs. And he's screaming something in goblin language. And now you guys heard one of your rumors taught you a word in the goblin language. I don't know if anyone wrote it down or remembered it, but it may or may not come in handy. I just remember you hearing that rumor. It was that Briark was the goblin language for we surrender. But he's not yelling Briark. However, he runs down that western hallway, and there's a pause. If you want to loot their bodies real quick, of course you guys have a lot right now, but altogether amongst the 5 dead that are laying there, you find 13 more silver pieces, and there's actually about 40 copper pieces amongst them. I don't even know if you want to take copper pieces at this point.
I'm taking everything.
All right, taking everything. And that's what they had on their persons, as well as some crappy leather armor that really would only fit Cosmo, and he's already got some. So, but there's a momentary pause. Now, of course, the survivor ran down the western hallway. That's where they were trying to retreat to. When you first barged in to surprise them, they were facing the eastern hall. on the eastern side of this chamber. There are actually two passages in the south, but you see they just short dead ends. You know, there's little alcoves. There's nothing down there. But I guess the question now is, would you like to follow and pursue that goblin down the western pathway, or do you want to take a turn to your left, the east, and see what they were guarding against or keeping an eye out for?
Yeah, I'm interested in what they were guarding.
Okay.
Yes, I am as well.
Okay. So, turning down that hall, you don't go very far before there's a passage that runs, it's like a T-junction. It runs north and south, and to your left or the north, you see an entrance to the outside again. There's a little bit of light shining in from there. And that would have been, you realize that would have been the very first cave on your left that you didn't enter when you first got here. But then the passage to the south, it's just like another little alcove. It just runs off and ends. Like you see a lot of times in caves, there's no point to it. However, the passage continues on, and you go through an empty room that looks like perhaps it was a little guard chamber. There are 6 little bunks here, and there's a stairway going up from the south. There's no goblins in here right now. Maybe it's where those 6 goblins you just killed, or 5 goblins you just killed, plus the other. Maybe this is where they were quartered. But there is a big sack laying here amongst the bunks, and when you peek inside it, you can see there's 250 gold pieces in it, which is not nothing. And there's also a small table in here, and 2 benches, and a keg of water. If anyone thinks that they would have any use for a keg of water at some point, you can take one. But the real find here is the sack with the 250 gold pieces in it.
Yeah, I don't got no use for water. I got this keg of brandy, but probably not the best time to start on that yet. We'll wait till we have a nice camp going or something, and we can all celebrate.
All right. So, yeah, you could go back the way you came, or you could go up those stairs. The stairs curve off to the south. And so this would be, remember when you came into the canyon, you know, the Caves of Chaos, you were kind of at the bottom of it. So obviously the stairs is going to be going up further into the cliff face, higher into the dungeon, as it were. So you could go explore those stairs, or you could go back down that western passage and see where those goblins were running off to. Those are your choices.
I think we should keep going up these stairs. Keep going further.
Okay. Now that sounds reasonable. You go up the stairs. They're like little. The stairs are shallow stairs. They're for people with little legs, right? So Cosmo's very comfortable on them. The rest of you guys feel like you're taking baby steps going up the stairs. And then the stairway actually curves off to the west. And it ends at the top of the stairs. There is a door. At the top of the stairs, there's a reinforced door, in fact. And it's all boarded up on this side. The goblins seem to have nailed some crossbars over this door, like they're concerned about whatever's on the other side of it. So you would have to pry if you have a crowbar or anything like that. You could also just use your bare hands, I guess, if you take some time. You'd have to open it that way. But they're just little goblin nails, so...
Yeah, they're definitely not going to keep us out of here. Except for I'm thinking, if they're scared of something, it's either elves or a bigger monster in there. course, monsters are to be expected. I'm not afraid of fighting another monster, especially if it's guarding something. So, maybe why don't you use your little short sword and pry off some nails?
Yeah. I guess he's talking to Cosmo. And you don't need to roll to do that. It just takes a little time. And you can hear the creaking and screaming of the nail as it's wrenched out of the door frame. And no sooner have you done that than the door explodes outward towards you as someone on the other side kicks it open. You guys are on your guard, so I'm not going to say you're surprised. But just as you've pried the thing out, boom, the door smashes open, and 5 hobgoblins run out. Obviously, the goblins and the hobgoblins must not get along. They come charging out into the room with you. I think that I will make their reaction roll, but I rolled a 2. Snake Eyes, which is an immediate attack, which is what they were probably going to do anyway. And let's go ahead and roll initiative, though, since you're not completely surprised. And Cosmo, why don't you roll that D6 for us this time?
I shall.
Yeah. They, however, roll a 6.
Well, I rolled 1, so.
Okay. So all 5 of them come charging in. And because hobgoblins are cruel creatures, and because little Cosmo's standing closest to the door, 2 of them gang up on Cosmo. Now, hobgoblins are bigger than goblins. They're man-sized. And these are better armored as well. Unfortunately, Cosmo is hit with a sword for 6 points of damage.
Ugh.
I know. But the second one misses you, Cosmo. 2 of them also rush in to attack Raw Dog. And 1 of them hits you, Raw Dog, for 2 points of damage. The last one does not run in, but raises up a crossbow and thunk! Pulls the trigger on the crossbow. You hear it release, and Emeleth, you are hit for 5 points of damage with a crossbow from one of the hobgoblins. Now it's your turn. Cosmo and Dudley are engaged in melee. Emeleth is not yet engaged in melee. So will you be doing any missile fire in this round, Emeleth?
I will be doing magic missile this round.
No, magic missile. Who are you firing at? The one with the crossbow?
Yes.
Okay. And magic missile. And so you don't have to roll to hit, but what's the damage you do?
5 points of damage.
That is enough to take that one out. The magic missile fries his face. His hair sticks out. His helmet pops off. And one of the hobgoblins is down. And Cosmo, you're in melee with 2 of them. What do you do?
Well, I'm going to swing my sword at one of them.
All right.
Hopefully I can.
Yeah, and their armor class
Doesn't matter because I rolled a natural 20.
Hey, there you go.
But I will need to know it for future reference.
Yes, and for future reference, their armor class is 4. They're slightly better armor with some chainmail. But you hit them and you'll double damage, so what do you get?
Ooh, with double, that's going to be 10.
Oh, you kill it. Just boom. Just chop it right down, right across the shoulder and down into the chest, and you yank your sword back out. Some of the chainmail links break and go all over the floor. How about Raw Dog?
I was going to make a deal with these guys because they hate goblins and, they're our enemies too. But it's too late for that. They've drawn blood, and now they're going to pay.
All right.
And I will... What was their armor class again?
It's 4.
Oh, well, I got on it.
Oh, great.
And let me find my D10. And that's going to be only 3 damage.
Okay, well, he staggers backwards. They're going to check their morale at this point. And they break. They run. They turn and run. So if you guys want to get in some parting shots on them.
Yeah.
Okay, it's actually a fairly large room. Now that you can see the room that they're bursting out of, is a fairly good-sized L-shaped room that they're attempting to run back into. But go ahead and strike at them as they flee. There's only 3 of them still standing.
Well, one of them takes 6 points.
Oh, well, there's only 2 of them left standing because that one is cloven in the back.
And I did another 3 damage.
I got one for 5.
Okay. Once again, only 1 is left. The one that just took 3 damage is charging into that room. If you guys give chase and follow them into that room, you can see that there were quite a few beds in here. As he's rushing across the room, there are actually some female hobgoblins who are ahead of him, who are running out of that room as well. And 2 of them are carrying little hobgoblin babies. There are heaps of cloth and skins for beds here, and like odds and ends and bits of furniture. There's a barrel of beer in here. But they're all fleeing out of this room and into another hallway. You can stop and search this room and see if there's anything worth taking, or you can charge on and chase them down the hallway they're running down. What do you think?
Raw Dog he would like to give chase, but his eyes are drawn to that barrel of beer.
Oh yeah.
So he actually doesn't move. He doesn't move in the direction he thought he was going to move. He starts moving towards the barrel of beer.
Okay. Well, if you start moving towards the barrel of beer, and then the hobgoblins that you've killed, rifling through their bodies rather quickly, you can find 27 silver pieces amongst them. And, of course, one of them had a crossbow, and they, and then the rest of them have, swords.
But crossbows are two-handed as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't take that then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so if you stop and do that, and grab their coins, and you go over and you want to tap that barrel of beer and have a nice big drink.
Yeah, I'm just going to drink straight from the tap. Yeah.
Okay. Straight from the bung. You pop it open and lift up and just shotgun that thing right out of the bung hole. And it's warm beer, but it's good. And maybe it's not the best quality beer like you get in the tavern in the Keep of the Borderlands, but certainly good enough for hobgoblins.
It's good enough for me, too.
Yeah. But, of course, they've all run down that long hallway that leaves this room. It's going off to the west, but it's like a level above that western hallway the goblins were running, down below. You guys can think of yourselves as kind of on a second story, on an upper story of this dungeon complex now. And when you poke your head out of this common room, it's a very long hallway, and it curves off to the north, so you don't get a good look all the way down it. But you can hear some scampering and some yelling. Two of the baby hobgoblins are crying. But that's all fairly far off down the hallway, and you can't see what you'd be chasing them into. I'll assume you keep following down that hallway, though, unless you tell me otherwise.
Let's keep following.
I suppose so.
All right. Well, you go charging down the hallway, and like you say, it kind of curved off to the north, but then it straightens out, curves off a bit to the north again. It's kind of windy. It's following natural fissures in the rock. And then there's a straightaway that runs maybe about 30 or 40 feet. But there's an entrance to another hallway to the south at the end of that. You could keep going and turn north, but you could also turn south. And from the south, you can hear the sound of moaning. It's not a hobgoblin's voice that's moaning through this passage to the south, but it sounds like a human voice. A human in pain. What do you guys do?
I think we should check this out. It could be the fellow that was taken prisoner.
Sure. I guess it could be. Don't know how he'd be able to survive. Maybe he's in prison or something. I guess we ought to take a look.
Yeah? All right. Well, you go down and poke your head around, Raw Dog, and it's right when you do, there's like a whip. There are two big hobgoblins in this room, which looks like a torture chamber. There's a plump, half-dead guy tied up on a rack, and there are two big hobgoblins in here, bigger and meaner looking than the ones you face. One of them had a whip, and he's whipped at your face to surprise you, but it misses you. And once again, I'm going to go ahead and roll for their reactions here. This time, however, they choose not to attack immediately. They can see you filing in. They know there's two of them. They look back and forth at each other and look at you. Their weapons are still out. One of them's holding a whip and a sword, and the other one's holding a two-handed curvy sword. And
Yeah, they're doing their calculations, right? Yeah, they ought to think twice about attacking us. It's not worth it, fellas.
We invoke the ancient right of parley.
Well, hey, I was just gonna tell you, there's a whole heap of goblins. And we just fought, and we actually killed, quite a few of them for you. You're welcome.
What is it you're after here?
Yeah, we're just taking a look around, seeing what, is worthwhile.
You're robbing.
Well, what are you guys doing?
We're just watching this prisoner here.
Help me, please. I want to get back to the cave. My cousin, Fairman, will reward you.
No, you're not taking him anywhere. He's going to be the main course at a feast we're having tonight.
No, he doesn't look very tasty to me.
I'm not. No, trust me, he's plenty tasty. He'll be nice and gristly.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna stand in the way of us getting a reward. Sorry, fellas. Hey, I don't think you're gonna be eating human. Maybe go have a bite to eat of some goblins or something.
Dang, goblins. Sick
Nice.
of goblins.
Goblin stew.
What'd you say, elf?
A nice goblin stew is perfect for you.
You're lucky we don't have an elf stew. Alright. Tell you what. We're gonna walk out of here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So back away from the door.
Well, so when you say you're gonna walk out of here, are you saying you're gonna leave the prisoner and walk out, or you're gonna walk out with the prisoner, you think?
Nah, we're taking him with us.
Well, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
I think you're wrong about that.
We're taking him.
yeah?
We're taking him with us.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let me tell you this then.
Ha! And he reaches up the sword. The guy with the whip. We'll go ahead and roll initiative. They rolled a 1, though, so
You want me to
you guys
roll?
will
or-
on him. No, since I do, you guys win ties. You automatically. They look like they're going to go ahead and try to attack you. So, I will. Let's go. Anyone doing any missile fire first off?
Well, are they far enough away? Wasn't exactly clear on the distance here.
Well, they're within a few feet, but you're not in melee with them yet.
Well, then I will roll a 3
Yeah.
to shoot at them and miss.
I miss. Anyone else? MLS?
I'm rolling also, and I believe I hit with a 13.
Okay. 13 is going to hit them for you. So go ahead and roll your damage.
4.
Okay, he staggers back a little bit. He's not down completely. How about you, Raw Dog?
I will. Are we doing melee now? Or?
Well, you're the one that he slashed at, so yeah, you're in melee.
Okay. Yeah, I will attack back. And what was their armor class?
Their armor class is also 4.
I just missed.
Yeah. So actually, I think Amaleth might have missed that last one. But we're going to give it to her. But you missed. So, anyway, it's their turn to attack, but they are going to try to strong arm past you. They're trying to push past and get out of the way and run down that hallway. But you guys are in the way, so we're going to make an ability check, which is something you don't see a lot of, but it is something that's a thing. So roll your strength or less to just stop them from running past, This is like a lineman in a football defensive line here. Shove them back into the room. Or
Who do you want to roll that, or all of us? Or
everybody,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, Cosmo rolled a 19 because his dice are cursed today.
I rolled a 2.
Oh, that's great. Cosmo kind of gets knocked over. It looks like Amaleth is not very happy.
No, Emma fell too.
Okay.
She failed.
Okay, but Raw Dog manages to grab them both, No, you're not going anywhere. Shove them right back into the room. And
Yeah, I'm holding them by the, are they wearing, shirts or anything? Or?
yeah, I mean, there you hold them by the scruff of their...
Yeah, the
their
collars.
collar. Yeah, and, yeah, you've got them. That was their turn. What do you want to do? You want to bash their heads together, or...
I mean, that was my first...
That was
idea.
I just imagined you doing that. Yeah. Go ahead and just go straight to rolling the damage at this point for unarmed damage. Well, yeah, we're like an improvised weapon. Go ahead and roll a d4. They'll each take that.
All right.
Go ahead and add your strength bonus.
3.
Okay. Crack. Yeah. One of them was already wounded, and that one, his head just crushes. And the other one whoops out a dagger and tries to stab you in the stomach, Raw Dog, but he misses. Anyone else want to go up and stab him while Raw Dog has got him grabbed?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He may take a +2 to your attack since he is partially held.
2.
Stick them.
What's his armor class? So it gives me a 13.
16.
Armor class is 4, so you're going to barely miss him, actually. You would need a 14.
I need a 14. Yep, you're right. Fuck.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm holding them right here for you.
How about Emeleth?
And I got a 16.
Okay, that's going to hit, so go ahead and roll damage on that one.
It's like a pinata.
Sorry, I'm finding a D8.
For that D8. You should have had a D8.
Ooh, nice. 7. 7 points of damage.
Okay, well, both of those hobgoblins are dead. You see that David, which is the merchant you were told about, he's tied up to the rack. There's 6 little cages in here, but there's no other prisoners in here at the moment. There is a fire pit and various implements of torture hanging around in the chamber. And hanging on the wall on the southwest corner, there's actually a ring with some keys on it. A key ring. Which could come in handy, maybe.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of those guys, in fact, the one who first got his skull smashed, he's wearing a silver armlet, which you estimate is worth about 135 gold pieces.
Nice.
And, yeah.
Please, take me off this rack. Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. My cousin will reward you.
Oh, he better.
Oh, I'll reward you when we get back. When we get back to the keep. Surely you'll be leaving right now to take me, yes? please, I'm begging you. Please.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we still got a lot of caves to explore here.
No, take me back, please.
You'll be fine. You're with us.
You've got plenty of treasure. Look at you carrying around giant sacks of gold.
Yeah, but
Didn't we say we bring his head back? What do we have to? We promised to bring
What?
the whole thing.
yeah. The agreement was just your head. They said that would do.
No, please. Not that. However, the rest of your conversation is interrupted by this huge echoing battle horn that's coming from down the western hallway, the direction that those hobgoblins ran. It's like now it sounds bouncing all over, and you can hear the screaming of several hobgoblins rushing back down the hallway to counterattack, and that's where we'll go ahead and leave it for tonight.
Maybe
in this
we
episode.
should go back to the keep after all.
Let's grab the keys to the prisoner and run.
Well, we'll find out next time on Goonies World. So we'll see you then.
Hey everyone, if you like this podcast, consider leaving us a good rating and/or review, and subscribe to us wherever you can. We've got a YouTube channel and a Discord server, as well as merchandise available at TeePublic. Find our website at GooniesWorldPodcast.com. Email us at GooniesWorldPodcast@gmail.com. You can find all those links and more at linktree/GooniesWorld. Thanks for listening.